It's time for the annual Mixed LABR Draft. Fred Zinkie and I will be sharing our innermost and outermost thoughts for the next hour and a half plus as we go through the draft. Always an annual exhibition. Looking forward to that here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is LABR Live streaming going on right now, and we're excited. We're about to start the LABR Mixed LABR Draft as we do every mid-February. Fred Zinkie, you've got the 10th pick. Who are you going to shock the world with?
I don't think I'm going to shock the world tonight, actually. What pick do you have?
I have 7, so I'm picking before you. Yeah. I will tell you this. If Gunnar Henderson and J. Ram and Ellie are gone, I'm going to go a little off my board.
Okay.
Different because I've gone this is the third straight draft.
I don't think they'll all be gone. They're not going to all be gone. You're going to take one of them.
I don't think so. I'm 1 for 2 on that. I got Gunnar on Sunday in a scarf, but on my Beach F. Erickson, I did not get those guys. They were all gone before me. So
really,
I throw that out there, but it was a little interesting. Before this draft gets started, let's kind of get you on a couple of notes. Mets have had just an awful camp already with their pitching health. Started off with Frankie Montas this week. Sean Manaea with an oblique strain on Monday, going to be shut down for at least 2 weeks and then reevaluated from there. And today they mentioned, this one's not as serious, but they mentioned that Kodai Senga is not ready yet for spring training games. They're kind of easing him in.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who would be worried about Kodai Senga, right?
Yeah.
After last year,
inconceivable.
Yeah, he's going to fall tonight. I think just the concept that they're easing him in. I think he's
right.
Yeah, I think he's gonna fall tonight. Like, just again, this is someone who had like massive injury problems last year and setbacks and whatnot. So, yeah, I think he's definitely going to fall tonight. The Manaea thing's pretty straightforward. He's got to fall a few rounds. Like, you're going to have him unavailable at the start of the year.
Because I think this is more than just missing a couple of weeks. They said he's not going to throw for 5 or 6 weeks, I think. And that means, and he hasn't done any ramping up. You got to do all your ramping up, and maybe it's in a compressed time. I mean, I love Manaea. I love his skills, but we're also talking about a player that a pitcher that had his breakout season last year. I'm always a little wary of that to begin with.
Yeah,
you're talking about oblique injuries and just getting ready for the start of the season. I think that's always kind of tricky. So yeah, and the Mets they're going to go with a 6-man rotation. That means Tyler McGill. Griffin Canning is pretty much assured a spot in the rotation right now. And they probably are going to have to, see if they can get, Paul Blackburn up to speed in time for the start of the season. He was behind pace to start the year. They don't have that luxury now that, they're down 3 starters already.
Yeah. Can I get sucked back into Tyler McGill? Here we go. Can all of us get sucked back into Tyler McGill? Right? Like, I feel like the fantasy community is just always willing to give Tyler McGill another shot. This year I was like, okay, I'm out. And now I think I'm kind of sucked back in. I'm like, oh, maybe Tyler McGill late rounds. Maybe he makes some starts early in the year. Maybe he has some good starts and then he sticks in the rotation. So I feel like I'm sucked back in. Will Tyler McGill get drafted tonight?
Yes, absolutely he will. A Mets starter? Yeah, I think so. And especially because he's going to be among the first 5 to start the season. Montas is going to miss months probably.
Yeah. Montas is firmly off the draft board. Manaea is a tricky one. So I'm in the Tout Wars draft and hold, which is OBP, which doesn't affect pitching, obviously. And Sean Manaea is still on the board. We're in round 14. I don't think that's surprising. Although he was kind of we're at the point where he's the highest ranked guy left in the queue. Is he a highest ranked guy among pitchers or everyone? Just among pitchers. But anyways, he's still in the queue in round 14. I just drafted. I did not draft him. And he's an interesting one just in the sense of you're tying up if you're drafting early, you're tying up an IL slot with him. And there's a really good odds that you're going to need, right? You need that IL slot later on by the end of spring training.
Yeah. I think that's it. And we're starting also to get to the point where you don't want to get auto drafted. Not, not that in a draft and hold that should ever happen this early on in the draft, but like the guys that were going to be closers that are not closers, now, like a Lucas Ersig, they're going to be hanging out at the top of the queue, and he's a fine pitcher, but you don't want to take him in the 12th round. You want to take him in the 26th round or something like that. So we'll see. So that is someone, we're starting to get to that point where you don't want to have those default guys. Another closer change, probably closer change. Kyle Finnegan agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the Nats today, $6 million. Not a big contract. They DFA'd him in the fall so they could avoid salary arbitration. He didn't get a deal elsewhere. I'm guessing he's the closer again in DC.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the only question with him will be, is he going to be the closer all year or not, right? So last year people were shocked that the Nats didn't trade him at the deadline. They kept him and he racked up 38 saves. This year, like I'm obviously not predicting 38 because I also don't think Kyle Finnegan's that great of a pitcher. But I'm also not I'm kind of projecting him as though he may be gone at the end of July this year.
Yeah. I agree with that. Although what really is the trade market for
not much.
Finnegan anyhow? It's not really that robust.
But what did the Nats again, we're back to last year's decision. What did the Nats get for keeping him? I guess
were there offers?
It was probably you're right. There's probably
I don't feel like this is a Daniel Bard situation where the Rockies steadfastly said they weren't trading him and then signed him to an extension. I think it's a little different than that. So yeah, we'll see. We are started, by the way.
We're close. I'll talk for a sec. So Jeff, you can get ready, but we're at pick 6. We're at pick 6. Bobby Witt, Ohtani, Judge went 1, 2, 3. Pretty normal. Maybe Ohtani goes first in some drafts. Ellie went 4th. Jose Ramirez 5th. There goes Juan Soto. So Jeff, you need to
getting
Gunnar Henderson or shock the world.
So my shock the world would have been Corbin Carroll, but I'll take Gunnar. I'm happy to take Gunnar. That was my guy that, if I wanted to take Gunnar, I would have taken Carroll ahead of Soto had it come to that, because I have a little exposure to Soto. I've also had consecutive drafts where I've been a little light on speed. So I figured I'd address it early and but Gunnar at least runs. So yeah, Gunnar Henderson it is. Come on down.
So now I'm up in one more pick after Gunnar. Kyle Tucker went. There goes Mookie Betts. So now my decision, am I going to take Corbin Carroll, who ruined my LABR team last year?
First half only. Second half, he was great. You still got over 100 runs.
Second half, great. Or am I going to go down? I'm going to take Corbin Carroll.
Boy.
To be honest, my next hitter is my next hitter on my list was Francisco Lindor. I feel
also justifiable, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like at pick 10, I'm going to aim a little higher. I'm going to show that I can be the bigger man. Like, I'm not going to hold it against Corbin Carroll that he really sunk my team in the first half of last season. And you're right, he was great in the second half, but you know how it goes. Like, I was drowning. It's obviously not just because of Corbin Carroll, but I was drowning at the All-Star break because of him. So
yeah, you still ended up with 121 runs. I'm just saying.
It was remarkable. And the year before, I forget what he had, like 106 or something off the top of my head. So, he's a run scoring machine. They have a really good offense. Sometimes I wonder if Diamondbacks fans, when they hear all of us say that the Dodgers have the best offense in baseball, which I still believe they do going into this season. It's a new season, but he scored 116 the year before. So 116 and then 121. It's pretty remarkable. But anyways, we always say Dodgers best offense in baseball. Like I said, I'm still on that, but sometimes I wonder if Diamondbacks fans are like, wait a minute, we're the team that led the majors in runs scored last year. They haven't really lost. I know Christian Walker left, but they replaced him with Naylor and everything. Like, they're kind of like, hey, wait, until defeated, we're the best offense in baseball.
Exactly.
So anyways,
point is, great offense, and you're happy to have them. We got our first pitcher at 12. Jenny Butler took Tariq Skubal. It's funny. I did the broadcast for the Solds League, which is innings pitched instead of wins, solds instead of saves, which is saves plus holds. And they waited on the pitching big time in that league. Now, obviously, a slightly different format there, so that's part of it. But it's interesting to see the contrast at times. Fernando Tatis after that to Zach Steinhorn at 13. Jackson
Churio
I'm
in the
sorry.
first round.
Yeah, excuse me. Not Tatis went at 14. I've already messed up my thing here. So talking and tracking are always kind of tough, but here we are.
Jackson Churio in the first round. I know it's semantics because he went on the turn. And then Paul Skeens went.
I'm
to
all
Rasball.
over Churio.
Yeah,
you know
so Rasball took the two of them, but I like the statement pick of Jackson Churio in the first round. Like Paul Skeens in the first round is not as much of a statement pick. So yeah, I like that when you're on the turn, just having a little extra fun with it.
It's a fun team, regardless, though. That's the thing.
Jazz Chisholm quite early in the second round. I like Jazz this year.
That's about where I see him go now. I saw him at 2.2. I think he went in Scarf. He went 2.2 as well. You're going to get 3 positions of eligibility. You're going to get second, third, and outfield eventually, which also means middle and corner also, and UT. I mean, that's so valuable, especially in this league, and more so in like AL only labor, where especially because labor has this special rules about shuttling roster spots and all that. Mixed isn't as stringent for obvious reasons, but it's interesting to see how that plays out sometimes.
So anyway, so Zach Steinhorn's taken his full minute allotment.
I appreciate
there
that.
He goes.
Load up my queue.
He let us catch our breath a little bit. Yordan Alvarez went now early in the second round. He paired him with Julio, so I like the pairing of, someone who steals bases and someone who just hits well. So our next manager up is the manager who took Scooball in the first round. So you'd assume there's a hitter coming off the board. Yeah, I can almost completely guarantee who I'm going to take with my next pick.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. There's only one person who might block it, but like player if he's available, but I don't think, nope, he's gone. So I would have taken Vladdy, but I didn't think he would get there. So Vladdy just went. So that manager's paired Scooball with Vladdy. So that's a pretty good start. So anyways, I'll let this pick go through. And then, like I said, I'm pretty much 100% sure that I'm going to draft this player in a lot of leagues this year. So I've already drafted him in Tout Wars in the draft and hold league that's going on right now. He managed to fall to round 3 in that league for a reason that I'll explain in a moment. And now I'm going to draft Trey Turner. So I'm pretty high on Trey Turner for this year. I just feel like maybe we've undervalued him a little bit. Like, he's not old. He didn't run quite as much after he came back from the hamstring injury last year, but he's been really durable in his career. On the Phillies, he's going to hit first or second. He's going to score 100 runs. He's going to hit about 25 homers. I think he can steal about 30 bases. He always hits for average. I just think he's like a really nice foundational piece that for years was a first round pick and then maybe like a late first round pick. But now I find him like late second, and I think he still belongs like early to mid second. It's not a huge difference, but it is a difference that means I'll end up drafting him a lot this year.
I think that your pick and the pick before you with Ryan Bloomfield or Freddie Freeman both are players that are getting a little underdrafted.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, I would have liked either one of them. Did not get them.
I don't mind the guys who draft ahead of him. Like, just there's a little bit of like an excitement factor with guys like Jackson Churio, Jazz Chisholm. Trey Turner's like, when's Trey Turner ever not been good? Like, there was the first half of the first season with the Phillies, or the first couple months when the famous where they were booing him and stuff. Other than that, he's always a 280, 290, 300 hitter.
Yeah, for sure.
Things like that. So anyways, Ronald Acuna, middle of round 2. I feel like that's aggressive. I'm not saying it won't work out, but given the injury concerns with Acuna coming back from the injury, I have him lower than that. Like, I have him more as a third round player. How about you?
I'm going to draft my player, and then
I'm going to let you pick. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2. Right under the gun, he picks Jarren Duran. So
debate the starter versus there's because I'm not going to get Wheeler if he doesn't, because he's not coming back to me. It was either go Wheeler or go hitter, and then I have a couple of hitter options I like as well. Decided to kind of like in previous years, previous drafts, excuse me. Actually, previous years too. It's both true. I have been a little light on speed in my drafts.
Sure. Okay.
Decided not to. I kind of want to get some speed early. I know I've been putting to the test to see if you can get speed late. Sporer, who's drafting next to me, says thank you for not taking Wheeler, as he takes Wheeler. So Boo, Ernst, but I knew that was I knew I wasn't going to get him. So
you and I both now have a shortstop and an outfielder in opposite orders, and we both have kind of 5 category guys. Like we both have guys who can hit 20 something home runs, steal 30 something, 20 something bases. So we've kind of both 20 something bases. Let's say both our guys could at least get 20 in each category. So we both have those balanced starts. One thing I did think about with Zach Wheeler, who I did look at, like I think he's been everybody's next pitcher on their list since the start of the round when Paul Skeens was drafted, is this group, just knowing your group. Typically our LABR draft is not a pitcher heavy group. For 2 reasons, I think. It's not a main event. And then on top of that, it's basically before or at the very start of spring training. And we know that there'll be more pitcher injuries than hitter injuries during spring training. So I find this draft is typically not a really pitcher heavy draft. So I thought, I don't know if I need to push it with Zach Wheeler. Like I feel like there'll be appropriate pitcher values later, then maybe in the next round, maybe in the next round, maybe in the next round. But, and then also I do find, I don't know if you find this because you're on Sirius a lot more, like a lot on top of all the podcasts, but I find there's a bit of a consensus this year to maybe not go crazy after pitching early.
I found that to be true too, but we haven't done the main event yet. And
totally.
But then again, the NFBC universe is completely different than any other universe.
Right.
There's a lot more emphasis on, having to compete in every category, and all that. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
Yeah. So I kind of 1+1 here, like I added, or 2+2, I added, in general, this group doesn't go heavy after pitching, usually in the draft. And this is a year where some prominent people in the industry are saying, there's a lot of good pitching out there, but not that much great pitching out there. So maybe wait and just build a deep group of pitchers. And that's what kind of made me decide to not go after a pitcher in round 2. We'll see how it plays out. And maybe there'll be a pitcher run right now of 10 pitchers and I'll regret it, but I don't think I will. Actually, I think I'd still wait. In the Tout Wars draft, I didn't take my first starting pitcher until round 6, I want to say, maybe 7, 6. Nope, 7. Round 7, I took my first starting pitcher.
Yeah. That doesn't shock me. Really.
It's not the usual plan for me, but just the way it was going, that's what I decided. And I'm going with that kind of plan this year of, like, I'm going to try to draft. I don't know if I'm going to do that in this draft, but I'm going to try to draft like 5 pitchers, say between rounds like 6 and 13, like 5, and get a bunch of guys who I think can have a whip under 1.2, an ERA somewhere in the 3s, and then hope that maybe I hit on some guys, right? Like, because a lot of the ERA leaders are not the guys in the end that we took at the beginning.
For sure.
O'Neill Cruz, first pick of round 3 to Scott Pianowski. That is, I feel like, is a flag plant. Do you think I'm right on that? I don't think his ADP is nearly that high.
It is, and especially because he already had Witt, which is interesting. But then again, O'Neill Cruz, you can play in the outfield too. Yeah. It's a flag plant, and it's a reflection that you're on an end that you're not going to get your guy coming back. So
that's true. Yeah, for sure. That's so I did look up his ADP, NFBC ADP in the last week is 36. So Scott did take him a little early, but not like crazy early.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I have a flag plant coming.
Okay.
If you've been following my drafts, I've been doing this a lot.
Okay.
If one hitter doesn't make it to me. If there's one particular hitter that makes it to me, then I won't go flag plant. But other than that, I've got something in mind for this pick. I'm assuming a couple other obvious things will be off the board by the time it gets to me. So we'll just say that. I think Sporer will take a closer. I don't know if it'll be Class A, but I think it will be a closer because I know he's an early closer guy.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens in front of me there. But
Sporer's is he right in front of you? Oh yeah.
He's immediately in front of me.
Derek Van Riper, I'm interested to see what he does, just in the sense of Derek went pocket aces in this league last year, and it obviously did not work out. Spencer Strider was the first part of it.
But see, and the thing is it because we're in a different pitching environment and he got, that's why it didn't work out and why it won't work out in the future? Or did he just get unlucky?
Oh, I think he got unlucky. I think he got unlucky, but it's for sure human nature to like, again, this is me wrestling Corbin Carroll. Like if you go pocket aces in your first round pick, misses like the whole season, maybe next year you're like, I don't know if I want to do anything like that again. So there, Van Riper took the guy who I think you were going to take and I was going to take if he fell to me was William Contreras.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes,
yeah,
I wasn't being super secretive there about that, but I just don't want to mention a player's name. That's all. Although we probably could, because I did. So which closer will Paul take right now? Let's find out.
Class A, right?
It's got to be a closer. I think it is, because I know he's an early closer guy, and maybe he's going to go different just to spite us, just because I said it. I don't know, but I don't think so. DVR murked him. That's the new word for snipe, by the way.
Really?
But that's late for Contreras. I see him go in the second round all the time.
Really late. Yeah, really late. I never thought he was going to fall to me. Like when I saw he was still sitting there, and then like I start, you start getting your hopes up 5 or 6 picks out. But I was like, check yourself here, Fred. He's not going to fall to you.
Yep. So he didn't go Class B. He went Class A. Manual Class A goes. So
I'll let you think about your pick, unless you want to narrate it for us.
Okay. So I was going to go my flag plant guy, but there's another guy that I honestly think kind of just slipped a little bit. I've seen him go in the second round a lot more, and that's Garrett Crochet. I'm going to take Garrett Crochet. Go a little different than my other drafts.
Well, Jeff, I just want to tell you that I'm mad at you because I was going to take Garrett Crochet, and not like he wasn't like I knew there was a chance I wasn't going to get him, but once it got to you, and there was only a couple more before you and me,
that false hope is just the worst, right?
And there was a couple pitchers on the ADP list who are ahead of him, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get him, and there goes Josh Hader. That is wild I think in the third round of a non-draft and hold. So I'm going to take a pitcher. I'm just deciding which pitcher I'm going to take. And I don't know if this is a little bit of a flag plant, but I'm going to take the highest ranked remaining guy on my list, and that's Cole Reagans. So I took Cole Reagans ahead of Chris Sale and ahead of Corbin Burns. I do have them ranked similarly. I get a little more strikeouts with Reagans than I would get with Burns. And because Burns, I still really believe in Burns actually, but I get more strikeouts with Reagans. I know the schedule is not as imbalanced as it used to be, but the AL Central still stinks. Mm-hmm. And Chris Sale, I'm just still a little afraid. So good last year. But I don't totally want to chase last year. For me, Cole Reagans just maybe less of an injury risk than Chris Sale.
I can appreciate that.
But he usually goes later than this. So when I saw, just like how I kind of mapped out the draft, like I was pretty sure my first pick would be Mookie Betts or Corbin Carroll, whoever fell to 10. And then I was pretty sure I'd take Trey Turner. And then I was pretty sure I'd take a pitcher. Again, I find there's a lot of pitchers who go in this range of like middle to back half of the third round. This is where Reagans, Burns, Sale, maybe Crochet. Although, like you said, Crochet struck out 4 Blue Jays or whatever it was on the weekend, and now he's just surging up. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I forgot how awesome Garrett Crochet is.
I didn't even see that, to be honest.
Okay. I'm fully on board with Garrett Crochet. He's really good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm fully on board with the pick. I know he's risky a little bit.
Yes.
But he's awesome. Like, he is a great pitcher. He pitched in the worst environment last year, like the most pathetic team in baseball by miles, and was still great. Until they basically forced him to not be great by not letting him pitch regularly anymore. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm fully on board with the pick.
By the way, it looks like Ryan Bloomfield going full Dodger stack here.
Okay.
He went Teoscar Hernandez after taking Freddie last round.
Okay.
Did he get Mookie in the first round too?
No, because Mookie went before me.
Okay.
And he's after me. So he would have tried. He would have tried maybe if he could have got the opportunity.
There is no try. Do or do not.
Yeah, well, he did not.
Do.
Do or do not. He did not.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of pitching. There's still actually a few pitchers, like starters, kind of left near the top of the queue. So we should just see. Oh, there goes Wyatt Langford in round 3. Jeff, how do you feel about that? Given that given
the oblique injury, I'm a little wary, but I'm on board with Wyatt, especially so I can do the length. I can always do the Ozark voice. But I did downgrade him 5% playing time because of this injury, just because I think these things tend to linger just a smidge.
Yeah.
But the sprint speed is pure. The pedigree is pure. It's just a question, does he turn that production, that potential into production? And, it hasn't gotten there yet. And the durability hasn't been proven yet either. So that's the only reason why I might hold back a little bit there. I mean, that and there's other guys that I think we could go after there too. But that said, yeah, hey, I get it. You might be getting some steals there later on. I still got my flag plant guy in my queue there, Fred. So we'll see if it comes back to me. I wasn't planning on going that guy, but if he goes there one more round,
your
I think
flag plant guy is still in your queue.
Yep. That's why he's a flag plant guy, I guess, right?
I guess so. I'm pretty excited. I actually hope I don't take him. So Chris Sale just went at the end of round 3. So we're turning around into 4. So Rasball already has Paul Skeens and Chris Sale.
That seems fun.
Yeah. And I could say in the first 3 rounds, I mean, he's picking right now in round 4, but so again, semantics, but yeah, really fun start for him. Like, I think you can still in this environment, go pocket aces. So like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And maybe I will, if I take a pitcher in round 3 and round 4, that would be pocket aces.
I was thinking the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
That is still a version of pocket aces.
I would say so. I don't think it has to be in the first 3 rounds. I think 4 rounds, especially if you're picking fairly early in round 4. I think it's fine. Adley Rushman went, which he was my highest ranked hitter left. I thought he would make it to me no problem. So I wasn't sure if I'd take him or not, but I thought he'd make it to me no problem. Yeah. James Wood went. That wasn't your flag plant?
Nope, but I do like him.
So now Dr. Roto has taken James Wood and Wyatt Langford on the 3-4 turn. After starting with Tatis and let's see, who did he take? And Jazz Chisholm. That's a really fun, unique, risky. Like Jazz Chisholm in round 2, Wyatt Langford in round 3, James Wood in round 4. Talk about your 4 category.
Wood was my highest category outfielder available for sure.
Okay.
So that was a fun one there. So yeah, I would have definitely considered him at that spot.
Something interesting, and I know this is in every draft right now, but if you look in the queue, not in the queue, in the list, like the generated list, a lot of utility guys now in the list. Like a lot of the best hitters left, according to the default list here, are utility guys. So we'll see where those guys go. Like, I think that's been a bit of a hot topic this whole draft season. So
yeah, for sure. You do pay a tax, but I think in a 15 teamer, I'm more inclined to pay the tax than I am in a 12, but I still paid it both in the 12 and the 15 in the last 2 drafts I've done. Rooker in one and Ozuna in the other. So yeah, I'm there for it if that happens to be the best available player that is there for me.
So my round 4 pick, and I did not at all see this guy lasting till round 4 for me, is Corbin Burns. So I'm going to take Burns. I was debating between Burns and Devin Williams. Devin Williams, spoiler, is my number 1 closer for this year.
I can see it.
I think he's awesome. I think Emmanuel Clase is awesome too, but Burns gets you a little more strikeouts. I think the Yankees are more of a lock than Cleveland to be a really, really great team. So anyways, Jeff's on the clock, so I'll just finish that thought while he's deciding on his flag plant. But yeah, I just like it's hairs that I have Williams ahead of Clase this year. They're both awesome, but I like the idea of getting Williams around 4. But pocket aces, Reagans and Burns, I really like it. Jeff, you're up. Are you planting your flag?
Done planted. Blake Snell.
I like it. That's fine.
I've taken him in the 3rd round in drafts. I didn't scarf. I love Blake Snell this year. I think the Dodgers is a perfect landing spot for him.
Yeah.
So I'm going double starters here. So I'm going to not, I don't, and this is a little different than I've drafted in a couple other leagues. I'll probably not get another starter for a while now, and that's okay.
So again, like I was saying earlier, like just knowing your league and knowing your draft room, like we talked in round 2 about how this is a room that doesn't really push pitchers up. And now maybe because of that, you have 2 starters and I have 2 starters. And I didn't see Corbin Burns being available near the middle of round 4. Blake Snell in the middle of round 4 is totally normal. Like you could see him coming a little more. George Kirby went to the middle of round 4. Dylan Cease is still on the board late in round 4. So yeah, this isn't a group that really goes heavy on pitching. You and I now both have 2. Jeff, would you be out on pitching now for a few rounds, like starters?
If the value's still there, I'll snag it.
Okay.
I kind of view like, this league is, if they're going to give you the starting pitching help, I mean, it just means that you have to have some discipline later on. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So Mason Miller, Dylan Cisco. Paul just took Lawrence Butler, by the way, and I love Lawrence Butler.
Yeah.
Question is, can he hit lefties? Can he, get that, full-time playing time, or does that matter? I just think the Athletics have a lot of outfield talent.
Right.
JJ Bleday, Rooker's going to play some field. Do those young guys get the call too? They've got a couple of young guys on the way that might get the call, and that could change things up a little bit in terms of the playing time. So I think that's interesting a little bit there. There goes Rooker. That's, if I had not gone with Blake Snell, I think Rooker would have been in consideration. I love him in that ballpark this year. Right. I think Mike Gianelli got a pretty good price on Rooker.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, he would have been, if I was picking, like you said, around that part of the draft, he would have been a consideration for me. Yeah.
So we'll see about that. Couple of pitchers I still really like here. A couple of starters, couple of closers, both. We'll see what the draft brings.
Edwin Diaz off the board. Yeah, closers. Actually, like I said, this room wasn't that big into pitching, but they like what do we got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closers coming out of round 4.
That's not that many. That's not that many in my opinion.
Well, what I was about to say, I don't know. We're coming out of draft champion season. Like I feel like they get pushed up a little bit in draft.
That's a good point,
and rightfully so. But in this draft, like we've stayed with the draft champions level of interest in them.
Yeah, there goes Ozuna, and I would have snap called Ozuna if he had gotten to me.
Yeah,
I think Ozuna is continually one of the best bargains in fantasy drafts.
Yeah,
you pay the DH tax. And it used to be, I don't think he's, peak David Ortiz, but it's pretty close to his level right now. And people are not losing out on value when they take him there.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think that we've kind of come around to on him. Like there's no, like the DH tax shouldn't be enough to push really him and Rooker down. Schwarber's like his own entity because you're dealing with the batting average.
Right.
So Schwarber's not good. He's good, but you're dealing with the double edge of the utility and the batting average. Like you got to be willing to take on both things. So I think that's like maybe a bit of a little bit more of a reason for pause. Rooker and Ozuna are really solid values where they go.
Yep. Agreed. And I won't usually take Schwarber, but if he hits 248 again, then you're not even paying a tax on his batting average at all.
Yeah.
And then you're getting, you're getting a pretty good deal on Schwarber. Usually he went in the second round today in the Solds League, which is OBP instead of course, a batting average league, but you don't have to even pay any tax at all. That's nice. There goes,
Yes, absolutely. Yes. No, I was just going to agree with you. Yeah. I think if you don't have to pay any tax, then I think that what you just said, that's a great value. Yeah. A few pitchers actually off the board. I was kind of hoping Ryan Helsley would fall to me, but not really. Like I knew that was a little bit pie on the sky on my part. I got to be honest. I don't really like what's available in round 5.
Yeah. So you got to figure out a plan to get around it then, right?
Yeah. This is a round where, now, one of my things that I do when I don't really like what's available is I just take a closer because it's just like, okay, if I don't really like anything in this round, but I actually don't even really like I don't really like the closers that I could take right now. So I've got some thinking to do here.
Yep.
You and I have both backed ourselves into a bit of a corner where we probably should take a hitter.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, or a closer, I guess. I don't know. I guess I could take a third starter.
Yeah.
3 starters in the first 5 rounds, though. Then I'd really be out. Oh, there goes Pablo Lopez. I feel like that's a little high given where where the pitchers have been going so far.
There's one starter I think I would take. No, 2 starters I think I might take here.
Okay.
Given the option, but there are plenty of other guys. There he goes. I think 5th round, you should know.
Yeah.
you've done this before, but Jacob deGrom is like a perfect guy to take a chance on as your third starter. I mean,
Yep.
you could, if he busts, it sucks. You lose a 5th round player, but at the same time, you've got 2 other starters. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And then you're obviously loading up on offense the rest of the way for a while. But if it works out, man, your pitching's just ridiculously good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can totally.
Paul Spohr is cursing Derek Van Riper's name for taking deGrom, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Yeah, you think Paul would have 100% been in on deGrom.
By the way, Jared Gadeberg says your team blows. Laughing my ass off, he says. So
wait, my team or your team?
He said Fred's team blows.
Oh.
He's not very nice. Come on, be nice there, Jared.
Yeah. I mean, I got those pitchers at pretty solid values in comparison to their ADP. So it's tough. It's a tough room. It's a tough room to be told after round 4 that your team already blows, especially when you're kind of sitting around ADP on your picks.
I'm up. So you
Here
talk.
You go. Yeah, I'll talk. So like I said, I don't think that Jeff is going to have the guts to go with a 3rd starter. He did not. He did take a closer.
You have to take, and you don't have to, but I'm a believer in at least one early closer in this particular league.
Okay.
And the reason for this, and I think you've articulated before, it's because we have $100 fab budget, not $1,000 fab budget. There are no $0 bids. There's no trading of fab. It's bloody murder trying to fab closers in this league. Yep. It's just the worst doing speculative closers. I just hate it. So I want one solid guy.
Well, I think this actually worked out okay. I'm fine with the person that I'm going to take. So Brenton Doyle, after you went, Bryce Miller went, which I felt like was a little aggressive, but fine. And then Brenton Doyle went, and now I'm going to take Schwarber. So I'll deal with whatever the batting average is. Hopefully Trey Turner can help me offset that, but I'm not sitting great in batting average because Corbin Carroll, we'll see. Like, I feel like as a 1st round pick, he's a bit of a batting average. Like, I'm not really sure compared to some of the other guys, but I felt like the value on Schwarber, just the counting stats are just so great.
I agree.
Right.
It was time.
Yeah, he'd been sitting at the top of the queue for a while, not my queue, the overall queue. And like I said, I didn't really like anyone in round 5 much. He's my highest ranked guy. So I went with it. Yeah. I'll just hope that this is a year he hits. I'm not expecting 240. I take 230. I just don't want 200.
Right.
There goes Michael King. I seem to be the low man on Michael King this year. He wasn't that high on my list. So, well, actually, you know what I was going to say is now I have a massive clump of pitchers. So
this is Lob 1.
Yeah. Like now I have a huge clump of pitchers I do SGPs who have are within like 1 SGP of each other. I have like 15 starting pitchers that are all really similar.
This is like premium economy, premium glob.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So you and I may not really get into the glob because we got aggressive on pitchers early, but if this is where like if you do the wait on pitchers plan, you probably try to get 2 of these guys.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. Yeah. And meanwhile, you've built a killer offense theoretically. So that's why you hopefully you find that guy that becomes a stud. So I always find, that's why I'm kind of looking at maybe, I also find that there's a little bit more variance here, but the way pitchers got hurt last year, maybe other people are onto something there. And maybe I've been onto something in previous years by avoiding it. Isn't it funny? Munoz and Duran go like back to back in so many different leagues that I'm in, and such is the case here. So it is written, so it will become.
Do you have a preference? Because I do.
It's Munoz for me this year.
Me too. And the reason I said that it's Munoz for me this year. First of all, new manager. So let's see how he handles his bullpen.
Correct.
But then second, looking at the Mariners depth chart, that bullpen's not as good as it was previously. Like not as deep. I felt like the Mariners bullpen, the start of last year and the year before, had more pitchers where you're like, oh, I could see that guy getting some saves. Right when Matt Brash was a little more of a thing than he is right now. They had Diego Castillo a couple years ago. There's someone who's totally escaping my memory right now, but it's just on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, I just felt like I said at the beginning of last season and the
Well,
previous
it
season.
was the guy that got traded to Arizona, Seawald, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So I just felt like there were a lot of pitchers where you could see a plan, an easy blueprint for the manager to share some saves. This year, I look at their bullpen and I'm like, you can share saves. You can always share saves if you want to. But to me, it looks more like a bullpen this year where maybe they have a closer.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Especially because like some of the top alternatives are working their way back from health issues too.
Yeah.
And it is a new manager. I think that we're
Yeah.
not guaranteed. And Rocco Baldelli remains. I mean, they were kind of the battling as the most, with Kevin Cash as the most likely to have a committee closers there. Rob Thompson in Philly, Dave Roberts a little bit the same way too. I think all those guys are kind of, similar in that respect that they like to have their bullpen by committees. Whereas, Seattle, we don't have that proven commodity yet.
That's exactly. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I kind of I don't know if I'll have a lot of Munoz this year because he does still go pretty early, I find, in drafts, but I'm on board with it for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now the choices start getting tough. So I'm up in a couple picks. Now you start getting to that point where there's direction. Like at the beginning, I find it's just all willy nilly. Like just take the best player. Now you start getting to a point where you're like, oh, I really could use another starter or not. In my
it does matter how it all comes together for sure.
I really could use a closer right now. I really could use, I need speed. I got to start getting on this or whatever. So,
the one thing to make sure you do is don't get that must draft guy, get into that must draft guy situation there. I found myself, and you, to a certain extent, you can't completely avoid it, but it helps to kind of mitigate that a little bit there.
Right.
Have something of everything. So that way, when you get into that a little closer there, it doesn't hit you as hard. While you're thinking about your pick, I'm going to take care of a little business.
Sure.
Our podcast is brought to you by Fantrax, the most customizable fantasy platform in the industry, offering the greatest fantasy experience for your dynasty, keeper, redraft, and best ball leagues. Coming from another service, Fantrax makes it easy. Fantrax can import any of your current leagues and customize if needed. Fantrax offers the most in-depth player pool in the industry, including minor league players. Do you need a customizable commissioner service for your fantasy league? Fantrax offers more customization than any other platform. Waivers, categories, scoring system, schedule. Fantrax offers custom solutions for all that and more, and it's all free. Sign up for free today and be entered to win an official MLB signed jersey from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Simply go to fantrax.com/rotowire and sign up today. That's fantrax.com/rotowire. Fantrax, the home of fantasy sports. All right. And where are we in this draft, Fred? We got only one pick during that whole read. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, because I'm stuck on something. And you know what? I will do a bit of a flag plant right there. So I've written a lot about Bo Bichette this year. This is my first time I've taken him. I didn't take him in Tout Wars. Maybe this is a round too early. Like I could have maybe played chicken and waited one more round. Yeah, we'll see. I might regret that. This is like a bit of a min pick probably on him. But I do believe that Bo Bichette is going to fully bounce back this year. Yeah. I'll talk about Bo Bichette while you decide who you want to take. But I just feel like Bichette, he's 27. He's in a contract year. Physically, like he had a calf injury last year. Like I'm not really worried about it. I think the contract year thing's huge with Bo. I actually think looking at his average sprint speed, he's fast enough to still steal some bases. We've seen guys like to throw up 10 or 15 steals instead of 3 in their contract year just to show that they can run. And I just think that Bichette, even after the lousy year last year, is still a career 290 hitter. So a 290 hitter, like I said, I think he's going to bounce back this year and be a 280 hitter, 290 hitter. I think he steals 10 bases. I think he hits 20 home runs. I think he hits high in the Blue Jays lineup. I just have a feeling that everything went wrong for him last year, but all of his other years, like he was a top 5-round pick, like all the other years, I'm buying the dip. I've written about him a lot. I was like, you know what? He's the highest ranked guy on my list. I was going to get cute and try to leave him one more round. I took him anyways. Then you took Cal Raleigh. So I took Kyle Schwarber, and you took the catching version of Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, I did. At least he's a catcher, right?
He was the highest ranked guy on my list, other than Bo Bichette. Cal Raleigh was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's for me, it was a debate between him and another catcher that I might still take. I'm going to shock the world, take 2 catchers. No, I probably
could. In Tout Wars, I took Cal Raleigh in round 5. He's a little better in OBP, but not great. I took him in round 5. I took Will Smith in round 6.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, Will Smith is also a little bit better than OBP. So I'm not saying I would necessarily take him in round 6 tonight, but yeah, I took 2 catchers. Now draft and hold, I don't mind the 2 catcher thing a little more because I'm not gonna be able to work the waiver wire, right, to get that second catcher. So
yeah.
Anyways,
Again,
I thought the Cal Raleigh pick. I actually had Cal Raleigh under consideration last round in round 5. If I didn't take Schwarber, I don't know if I would have taken him, but I was considering him.
My numbers have him there, but he never goes that early, so I just kind of avoided. I wasn't slave to my own numbers, which I just, even though I believe that's where he properly belongs, I just realized that that's the way it's going to go. Plus, I got my closer that way too, and I do want to get a closer in this format. I'm intrigued by the Mark Vientos pick in this round. He goes at 613. That is to Mike Gianella from Baseball Prospectus. I like him a lot. Mike and Mark Vientos both. I like them both. But it's interesting. He went before Jordan Westbrook, who I also love, who just went 1 pick after that. That combo is really intriguing to me.
So when I waited till the very last second to take Bichette, which I kind of regret right now, but I don't regret taking Bichette. I regret the fact that I have Trey Turner, Bichette, and Kyle Schwarber, so I can't take another shortstop for the rest of the draft. There's a lot of good shortstops out there. So I a little regret that. Anyways, my debate right up to the last second was Jordan Westberg against Bichette. I really like Jordan Westberg. I like the 2nd and 3rd eligibility.
Yep. I like that they moved the fences in. I like all that. Yeah.
I know. So that in hindsight, I maybe should have just gone with Jordan Westberg and then played chicken that Bichette would come back to me, which he probably would have. But again, like,
right.
Just someone I kind of wanted. And then the batting average helps offset Schwarber, which what I'm like the batting average I'm expecting from Bichette. Anyways, I think the Jordan Westberg late in round 6 is like really far to fall. I'm really surprised by it. I think it's a great value pick.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So there you go. We had a pair of Astros on the turn, Christian Walker. Nice. It's always nice to have a sentence for a name. And then and Hunter Brown before that, they're both to Scott Pianowski.
Yeah. I like both those picks. Actually, Hunter Brown was my highest ranked remaining pitcher, and Christian Walker wasn't my highest ranked remaining hitter, but he's high up there for sure.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah.
I think there's a number of first basemen in this range that I like.
Yeah.
So we'll see which ones come. But this is an interesting phase of the draft. I have a couple of guys that are targets for me, and I definitely have some that are absolutely not targets. So we'll see what happens here. There's one player that there's one player I want. There's one player I probably should take. So we'll see what happens there. But I just in case Paul Sporer really wants to snipe me, and I don't think he does. I just won't mention him yet. But because Paul's dealing with his own snipes on the other end with DVR, who's been getting him on the regular so far here. Okay. And we're only in the 7th round. That's pretty crazy, but so it goes.
Yes. Where's the draft board on this thing? I just want to get a good look at what everybody's done. Just wanted to see.
We got it right in the stream here.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, for me to read it from the stream, and I have pretty good vision on my computer with all the other tabs I've opened. Would be tricky. Just kind of looking to see. This is the part of the draft. You're so in the middle, I guess you can't really play this. Like, I'm not on the end, but I may be far enough that I can start looking at what some teams, like I'm 10, what some teams 11 on down, need.
Yeah.
A little bit. From
this
10.
Is the self-involved draft. I'm all about me right now. I don't care what other people are doing yet.
Yeah. Sal Perez went. He lasted longer than I expected.
So if Sal Pal hadn't made it, I would have had a hard time letting that go, because I was debating between he and Raleigh in the last round, and I just think he gets undervalued because it's like the Ortiz thing. You never lose out on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see about that. But I like it. Paul is tilting again. Seiya Suzuki. I love it. Oh, this is just the best. I love the chatter. Poor Paul. I have one player I definitely want with this pick, and I have another one that would be. I have 3 guys in my queue, so I'm going to get one of my guys here.
Okay.
Oh, son of a motherless goat. Paul did it to me. DVR did it to him.
Okay.
He took Josh Naylor.
Josh Naylor was one of my higher ranked remaining guys. Not the highest, but he was up there.
He was way high on my list. Paul, you're now I either have to take the value guy or I have to take I'm going to take the value guy. I'll see if I can take the fun guy later. The tedious value pick of Anthony Santander, everyone's saying, well, he's not going to repeat last year, but okay. As our friend Scott Pianowski says, regress to what? I feel like I'm playing Limp Bizkit here. Regress to what?
Right.
But I think that's Limp Bizkit. I don't know. I don't really care if I got that right, but but I need power. He's going to get some power. I don't like that he switched to Toronto because I think that's a harder park to hit home runs.
Right.
But nonetheless, he should be fine. It's the responsible, boring pick.
Yeah.
I wanted Naylor though.
I'm going to take another guy who maybe this is another homer pick. I'm actually just off the board. So whoever hated my team earlier probably really hates it now. I don't see why we're really worried about Jeff Hoffman. I get it that the Braves and Orioles didn't want to give him a 3-year contract to be a starter, but we're just asking for him to be the Jays closer for this season. I think everybody at the start of free agency, everybody was talking about how Jeff Hoffman was such a good reliever and could easily be a team's closer and blah, blah, blah. And then a team signed him and made him their closer. So what gives, guys? What's the problem? So I feel like after this, there's a bit of a closer in my mind. There's a bit of a closer drop off where Felix Bautista's I was totally interested in. But there's obviously the red flag there. But after that, Tanner Scott, okay, will the Dodgers share save chances? Trevor McGill, is he the closer? Robert Suarez, do we think the Padres will trade him at some point because they have so many good relievers? Ryan Presley, does he suck? David Bednar, does he suck? Alexis Diaz, does he suck?
Right.
Jordan Romano, can he stay healthy? Lucas
David Bednar they made a point of saying he hasn't been named the closer yet.
There you go.
Now I think he will. I think it's semantics, but
yeah.
After he lost the job last year.
Yeah, for sure.
He straight up lost it. So I get it there. That why you be tough though. But yeah, it's interesting on that there. Couple of players people are asking about, is Zach Gallen available? Yes, he's available. Also, Joe Ryan is still on the board. Yes, both of those guys are still on the board for inquiring minds. I have 3 pitchers already, so I'm less inclined to go that route, but I do like both of them for this price. I will say that. Alex Bregman goes. Hey, I like him and I love him in Fenway. I think that was an ideal landing spot for him.
Oh yeah. He's been slowly kind of climbing my list. It's I have projections for him and then I'll just be thinking about how good of a fit he is with the Red Sox. And then I'll be I think I might inch those up a little bit. And then you know what I mean? And then I'll be later thinking about how good he is for the Red Sox. And I'm I think I might inch those up just a little bit more, et cetera, et cetera. So there goes Joe Ryan. I agree that I think he lasted too long. But again, this is a really big glob of pitchers. So I'm not totally shocked. On the other hand, I could use a hitter. So I'm just deciding who I'm going to take.
Always good. Yeah. Getting tough around first base. That's one of the reasons why I was unhappy seeing losing out on Naylor. After that, Pasquantino, Bellinger, and Berger have already gone off the board. I think there's a little bit of a teardrop there. The position's a little tougher now. I think there's not a little bit of a teardrop. I think there's a significant teardrop, and I'm left without any tears. I have a dry well of tears at this point in time. So we'll revisit first base later on in the show, in the draft. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to make another off the board pick. I guess I'm just all off the board picks today. We'll see. I'm kind of debating. This is where you get into like, have I taken too much pitching? Can I take another pitcher? No, I can't, because I was thinking about Freddie Peralta and he just went.
Foghorn Steinhorn took him there. So,
I can't totally make out like sometimes what I think of Freddie Peralta. Like, I think no one can. So, like, he's 200 strikeouts.
I was just gonna say big strikeout upside, but some potential there
sometimes
too, and some health issues. Speaking of health issues, there goes Spencer Strider. That's 109. Pick 109. He usually goes. He's not coming back to Jenny in the next round. So if you're big on and there's been pretty good progress reports so far. Use both his fastball and his curveball in throwing the hitters on Friday, but you're missing a month. The good news is though you have IL spots in this league.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So
you're up now. So yes, I'll talk while you make your pick.
You talk while I think.
Sonny Gray just went off the board. Very steady, reliable pick. I like that one there. The Strider pick's interesting though, is because where's IL spots. I think it's a little bit of a better situation to take them in this league than say the NFBC, where you have the 7 reserve spots, no IL spots. The flip side though is that means you're fabbing already a little bit earlier too there. So, but it's a trade-off there. Fred went with a catcher. He went with a guy that I am fading. So this is a little interesting. JT Realmuto. He goes at pick 111. Fred, I'm not there for JT Realmuto. If he doesn't run, what do you have?
Right. So you've closed the book on him running?
I don't think he gets double-digit stolen bases anymore. And they're already talking about using him less too. That's the other thing I don't really like about that. So I could be wrong. It could just have been all a health thing last year, and he bounces back nicely.
So my thought on Realmuto is, like Bo Bichette, contract year. Unlike Bo Bichette, not in his prime, his average sprint speed is basically unchanged his whole career. Like, his feet per second on StatCast bounced between 28.2 and 28.8 his whole career. Last year they were 28.4. So the year before 28.6. Like, they're almost unchanged. So whether he hasn't lost a ton of speed. So he went 13 steals, 21 steals, 16 steals, and then last year 2 steals. He had the knee injury. I'm hoping over the knee injury this year steals 10 bases. Not 20, not even 15, but 10. I'm just hoping a healthier year and we can get back to 18 to 20 homers, 10 steals. He hits for average. He's, 266 last year.
Sure.
So I'm hoping he can just kind of accumulate his way to being really valuable. That's what he was before, right? No dominant category, but just really nice 5 category. If you think the steals are gone, then I should have taken Shea Langoliers.
Yep. I like Langoliers better, but then again, you're giving up some batting average. I fully concede.
Well, and I already took Schwarber.
Yeah, that's true. So you needed the batting average a little bit more than me. I went with Matt McLean, and I forget the eligibility rules in this league. I don't know if I get him at both second and short, or if I just get him at middle infield. If so, I'm fine either way. I don't mind taking a second shortstop early.
Yeah.
But it might block me off of some of my favorite late shortstops. That's the only downside to that.
Is utility available?
Utility still available for me.
There you go. You can take a third shortstop.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
With impunity. But
I can't because I took Kyle Schwarber, so you're ahead of me. I'm actually crossing shortstops off my list right now, just to get them out of there, so I can't see them anymore.
There you go. While you cross off, I'm going to take care of a little bit more business.
Sure.
Have you ever had your debit card declined or had to call your bank at 3 a.m. in Vegas? Edge Boost is the first consumer-facing online bank dedicated to the gaming industry. There are numerous benefits to using Edge Boost. Up to $250,000 per day in debit deposits, unlimited withdrawals, cash back on sports betting, DFS, and sweeps. Deposit $25, get $25. 100% approval for all gaming activity. Financial segmentation for discretion and responsible gaming. Compatible today for prediction markets, iCasino, DFS, sports betting, lottery, brick and mortar casinos, horse racing, and sweeps. No transaction reviews or account freezes. Visit edgeboost.bet today and use promo code ROTOPOD. That's promo code ROTOPOD. Thanks to Edge Boost for their sponsorship there. All right. Since in the interim, after I took McLean, we saw Royce Lewis, Willie Adames, Robert Suarez, another closer, kind of getting discounted a little bit. I think people are afraid of both Jason Adam being there and then the possibility of a Padres selling off a little bit there. But I think kind of cheap on Suarez. Then Zach Gallen, as asked earlier in the forum, and Dylan Cruz, some cheaper speed.
The Robert Suarez, to me, just jumping back to him for a sec, like it would just, to me, from a baseball perspective, make so much sense for the Padres to move him. They just have needs elsewhere and such a deep bullpen. Again, they might not get, maybe they'll get more. Major League GMs aren't stupid. Maybe if they want to sell off in their bullpen, they should trade Jason Adam. But like maybe they can get a lot more for him. But what's your stance on Royce Lewis this year?
I have a little tiny bit of exposure right now.
Okay.
I don't think he runs, and that's kind of concerning. Obviously, the durability concerns are obviously present. I feel like 8th round price is probably pretty fair for him, though.
Yeah. I think so too. I was like, last year I was an in on Royce Lewis guy. This year I'm an out on Royce Lewis guy. I think that's a little reactionary on my part. Like I'll criticize myself on that. I think I'm just, don't want like last year he burned me. So this year I don't want him. Unlike Corbin Carroll, recovered, Royce Lewis didn't really recover. I think the difference too with Royce Lewis, so we all knew he was probably he could possibly get hurt, was more likely than most players to get hurt. What we didn't think is that when he played, he would just be okay.
Right.
And that's what he was last year. Prior to last year, he had been hurt or awesome at all times.
For sure.
Last year, he was not, when he was not hurt, he was also not awesome.
Yes. So, narrator, not awesome. Yeah. Also not awesome.
So there goes Spencer Steer. I find Spencer Steer dropping in drafts. So he just went early in round 9.
He didn't draft at all in this draft. I've seen him go
really,
like the 180s.
Right.
And the reason is the shoulder, obviously.
Yeah.
So
his ADP in the last week is 128. So you're right. He went right around there. Start around 9 is right in around 128. So, and Grayson Rodriguez just went. I felt like Grayson Rodriguez really fell. He was my highest ranked pitcher left by a sizable margin.
So how many innings does Grayson Rodriguez throw?
I don't know.
We asked this question last year.
Yeah.
He has a max of 122 so far in his career. And I ask this more for the Orioles' sake than I even do from a fantasy perspective, because the Orioles, they added Charlie Morton and a 35-year-old pitcher, Sugano from Japan. No offense, nothing against Sugano, but usually year one of a pitcher coming over, you don't think of huge inning accumulations there, although Manaea kind of, defied that. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm worried about the batting. I'm worried about the innings. I just don't know if they're going to have enough innings. I don't think they did nearly enough after losing Corbin Burns to free agency. I really don't like what the Orioles offseason. I think they had a pretty poor offseason, all things considered, given where they are on the scale of competitive scale.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, I have a clear target here. I probably won't get him. It's a guy I usually don't get. I'm usually around too late on him, but I have a clear number 1 target for this round. So we'll see if it happens.
Pretty excited.
That's a tease. If I ever.
And you picked before me.
Yeah.
And Shea Langoliers went, which I like because I didn't want to take him, but he was the highest ranked guy left on my list. I just didn't want I didn't want all the extra low batting average guys. Another one on my team. There goes Christian Yelich. I find him super risky, but
that was the guy.
Okay.
Damn it.
But really exciting. I was about to say
DVR. Shake my fist at DVR again. He's having a great draft. I think we said that last year though too. But DVR did do the pocket aces last year, and it blew up in his face. But I think he's a really good drafter. So I need batting average. Christian Yelich perfectly fit what I needed.
Right.
And he gives you some speed. Maybe he comes back with the power. There's obviously a health risk there, as you alluded to. But he is a perfect fit for me.
Yes. So now where are you going to pivot?
So I am going to pivot with, and by the way, confirmation that McLean is only shortstop and not second eligible on RT. You got to check your league rules. NFBC, you get him now at both. Okay. I am going to take a second baseman then. I am going to take the Nationals' Luis Garcia, who I think will provide some batting average for me.
Yeah, I don't mind Luis Garcia.
Yeah, a little bit of power, a little bit of speed. Left-hander, that works for me. Yeah, so he is my second baseman, and then McLean can get that second base eligibility at any point in time. I've got my middles. I don't rhyme for the sake of riddles.
That's that was pretty good. You were really on a roll there.
Yes.
For a minute. Okay, so now I'm up. I'm debating between two guys, and
I'll let you think. I'll talk. We just saw Jack Flaherty go in the pick before he had Tim McLeod. I am out on Jack Flaherty at price. I have him like around pick 200. I think that what we saw in the playoffs is very scary, velocity wise, health wise. I think he slipped because of his medicals. So I am emphatically out on Jack Flaherty at this price. Tim could be right. Flaherty was awesome with the Tigers. He was awesome in home starts with the Dodgers. I just hated what I saw in the playoffs out of Flaherty for most of his playoff starts. So I'm avoiding that there. Fred is on the clock with like 10 seconds left. He swings for the fences again. Jason Dominguez, well done.
Yeah. So got a little bit of negative publicity because he lost a ball in the sun. And since it was the New York media, they were like, what are we doing? We have a rookie left fielder who lost the ball in the sun in a spring training game in February. The sky's falling. And I was like, guys, come on. Like, come on. It's one fly ball in the sun in a spring training game. And his manager got on him a little bit. That's okay. That's wrong being coached.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jason Dominguez is really good. I never make the fun picks. So I always pick the JT Realmutos, the Kyle Schwarbers. For once, I'm making a fun pick.
All right.
So,
but Schwarber can be a fun pick. It's just not the fun pick that you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I never pick the rookies. So, and then I do find, anecdotally, at the end of the year, there's one Jackson Churio type who went in like round 5 or 7 or 8 and then ends up being this huge scorer. And I'm like, I was never in on any of these guys. So this year, at least in this league, I went in on one guy. Like I said, that's not usually my MO. So when I saw that Dominguez was one of the higher ranked guys on my list, I know I'm usually, tentative on rookies. So I was like, man, if he could climb high on my list, like maybe we got something here. So went with him. Anyway, some other interesting picks. So Trevor McGill went in round 9. Is Trevor McGill definitely the Brewers closer?
If he's healthy, but remember he's been pushed back, and I'm worried. And I'm actually sending a note to our breaking news team to see if they can find something on him. I looked on multiple sites, so I don't think there is anything. But it was this nebulous health issue, and they haven't had any updates since.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So like you say, he's their closer if he's available. So
yeah, it could be a huge value in the 9th round. I think he could be huge if that happens, but he also could have an elbow problem and miss half the season. Devin Williams, you remember they kind of slow played his injury last year in spring for a little bit there. We didn't realize the extent of it right away. So I'm a little concerned. I love that we saw, we were talking about players that are paired like Duran and, Munoz as closers. Well, Adolis Garcia and Randy Arozarena are always paired together too.
Right. Yes. Toolsy outfielders coming off disappointing seasons.
Yep.
And you're not sure, actually, when you look at some of the underlying numbers, there's some real questions as to are they actually good?
Yep. Exactly.
So it's not just a disappointing season. Like you can see something there where you're like, or is this who he actually is?
Right. Exactly.
Yes. So yes, I agree with you. Lots of similarities there.
I want to get a little Adolis Garcia, but I'm hurting with running with batting average to begin with, so I couldn't go that route.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, what I've really enjoyed in this draft is not needing pitchers. Like the fact that you and I both took pitchers early.
There's some freedom with that. I think we're getting back to the point where I might need another one soon. But
how many pitchers do you have right now?
3
total. 3. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
So, but if you go back to auction type budgeting, you've put more stock into your 3 pitchers than, right? You've put as much stock into your 3 pitchers as some people have put maybe into 4. A way, right? Because that those 3rd and 4th round pitchers were $25 players or whatever, you know what I mean? $23 players off the top of my head.
Right. That's right.
So I did almost take Felix Bautista. I feel like you're not in on Felix Bautista.
He slipped. I'm not in on him because he's not going to, it's a leap of faith. Although I think the price here was fine. I see, I'm so in the NFBC mentality where closers are going earlier that he never makes it this deep into a draft. The fact that you got him Rudy got him at pick 135, that's well below NFBC prices. I'm fine with this price. I think, especially because we have IL spots too. So if he's not ready to start the season, okay, you put him on IL. You probably, pick up somebody for those first couple of weeks and then off you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, so he was my guy I was debating with Dominguez, and it was almost like, which way am I going to have fun? Like, am I going to have fun by drafting the rookie, or am I going to have fun by drafting this boomer bust, could be awesome, like was once amazing closer? In the end, I went with the rookie. But I was debating him. I just also wasn't sure if I wanted to draft 2 closers.
For sure.
In the first 9 rounds. I do that sometimes. Like, I'm not against it, but I don't know. I've tried not to do that quite as much.
I got to say, there's one thing I'm hating right now, and that's I've kind of put myself in a little bit of a corner in terms of batting average. That every pick I have to consider is what's his average.
Like, you feel like you have a bit of a low average team right now?
Below batting average team. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that necessarily. It is a little bit that, but it's also, I have Cal Raleigh. I can't afford another guy that's going to have a low batting average. Like, I definitely feel like that's a concern for me.
Yep, I can totally see that. I'm going to make a really boring pick and take Ian Happ. Ian Happ in round 9 is
take my fist at you for the first time all night.
I'll let you think then about where you want to pivot, but I know what you mean about batting average. And after you make your pick, I'm going to ask you if you're using software for this draft, your RotoWire software that's telling you that your batting average is low, or if you're just eyeballing it.
No, I'm definitely using software.
Okay.
I always use our draft software. I'm not an eyeballer. I'm definitely not a pen. I totally respect the hell out of everybody that uses pen and paper and all that. I get that, can simplify things, especially if you just have guys that are not on your list. There's some value in that, and you're not busy tracking everybody else. I like to track everybody else though. So my pivot is not to go hitter at all. It's to go with the second relief pitcher, Tanner Scott. I'm on my stance is 4 years, $72 million. Suggest that he will be used mostly as a closer. I know Dave Roberts will never fully commit to a guy being a full-time closer, but Scott's great. B, he's on a great team. And C/3, he's getting paid like a closer. So I'm going to go ahead and take him as a closer.
If he can get 65% of the save chances on such a good team, right? Like, if he could do that, he's away to the races. Like, he could get 30 saves just doing that, 32, 33, right? Like, the Dodgers will generate a lot more save chances, many more save chances than a lot of teams. So,
yes, I got a damn it, Jeff, from Paul.
There you go.
That was my day.
So I was considering Tanner Scott. I'm not just saying that because you actually took him, and I'm trying to look cool in front of you, but I was actually considering Tanner Scott. If I was going to take a pitcher, I was going to take Tanner Scott. I decided if Ian Happ was there, I was going to take him, just kind of a boring outfielder accumulator. But Tanner Scott was the one pitcher, in my opinion. After Tanner Scott went, there's now a massive drop off in relievers.
I think so too.
I have one. You already had one. Now you have 2, so you're set. I wasn't sure if I was going to take Bautista or Tanner Scott in round 9 or 10, or just keep waiting on reliever. Apparently, I'm waiting. But I think there's a huge drop off after Tanner Scott. After everyone that's been taken now, I don't see any relievers who I would value in a fab league. I don't see any relievers that I would take now in the next 3 or 4 rounds.
Right. I get it. I am trying to eyeball it real quick. Now, I think there's one closer that I think will go soon. Okay. I'll mention him because I already have 2. Sure. So screw y'all. Alexis Diaz goes sometime soon.
Okay. I wouldn't take Alexis. I wouldn't take him.
I think some people that are left without saves and are waiting on saves will probably feel the need.
Yep. So that's the place I really would like to avoid being in, is that is that needing to get saves and then having to take him. So, So anyway, I did think about Tanner Scott. I think Tanner Scott was totally a good pick by you.
Thank you.
Partially because I think he's good, but then partially because I just think that's the end.
Yeah.
This makes me wonder why I didn't take him when there's lots of hitters out there. But apparently, I'm going to load up on some hitting now. You mentioned that last year you felt like you didn't draft enough speed. That's right. Correct, right?
I think that's in the last couple of drafts. I haven't drafted enough speed. Well, I just didn't draft enough offense, period, the last couple of years. I got the wrong offensive guys. Kerry Carpenter just went to Gianella. That's the second time. Carpenter, right? Oh, you know I loved Kerry Carpenter. Pick 148. I've been getting him at like 180. So be it. Yeah. It played a little, I guess you could say I played chicken with one of the guys I like. Oh, there goes Quan. That's another guy that would have fit my needs pretty well. Yeah. So that's a disappointing pair, but I just passed on. I could have taken either one of them instead of closer too. So shame on me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, like I was saying, the first like 4-5 rounds are just like so easy in a draft. Like you just kind of take the best player, maybe make sure you get a pitcher in there somewhere. It's then I find and then I also find the last rounds you're throwing darts. And then even like rounds like 17 to 23, you're kind of just filling holes. Oh, I need a second baseman. Oh, I need another outfielder. I don't find those rounds that confusing. I find rounds like 6, about maybe like 6 to 14 or something like that. That's where I feel like it's again, like you're making these really hard decisions. Am I going to take a second closer? Or am I going to build my hitting depth? I built my hitting depth with Ian Happ. You took a second closer with Tanner Scott. Then you looked at Stephen Kwan going and Kerry Carpenter going, and you're like, maybe I should have built my hitting depth. Maybe I didn't need a second closer. I could have waited or not taken a second closer and everything. So these are the rounds where I feel like the decisions. I'll be honest, when I took Ian Happ too, if I didn't take Tanner Scott, my other pitcher I was looking at was Jared Jones. So then he went to DVR. So I thought Jared Jones was going to make it back, had a chance to make it back to me. He didn't make it back to me. So
I'm not on Jared Jones. I don't like what happened to him in the second half of last year. I get there's huge swing and miss potential still, and I could just be missing the boat on this, but that's one I'm happy to cross that name off when he goes off where he goes off. In most cases there, I understand I could be utterly, totally wrong on this one here. Low key, these like last 5 or 6 picks have wiped out a lot of my names in my queue.
Me too.
Kerry Carpenter, Stephen Kwan, Xavier Edwards, Castellanos, Alcantara. Yeah, this has been a tough look for me here. I wanted Sandy Alcantara too. Yeah,
Castellanos was pretty high for me as well.
Although to be fair, Alcantara would have been a luxury pick for me at this point in time. What do you think about Ryan Presley going at 11.3?
Surprised. I took him in round 13. I took him in round 13 in the Tout Wars draft, and I felt like that was a little aggressive. Well, no, I thought it was fine actually. 13 in a draft and hold, I thought was fine. I'm not. I know. I feel like I've heard you say that you're down. I think it was Scott maybe that you're not really in on Presley. I get it. He always was a successful closer. He definitely waived his no trade, knowing that like the Cubs guaranteed promised him he could be a closer. That's why he waived his no trade. So I do feel like he'll be their closer, but I think round 11's a little rich for it. But again, it's a sign of there's just no one left.
Yeah. It is a sign that, and the thing is, the thing that's really interesting too is that dealing with this, we've got just because of this league format, you have to pay that tax a little bit there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give everybody.
I don't know if you needed to do that. I just don't know if someone needs to do that in a like in a fab league and a trading league.
Exactly. So. There is a trade. It is a trading league. That is one good thing there.
Yeah.
We're going to pause at the end of this round. The draft is going to pause. So I think we'll wrap up our thoughts there, and then on the second half of the draft, we'll just because as we get deeper into this draft, it gets tougher. Hopefully you're following along with the live grid. I'm going to go ahead and post the link to that here in the forum there for people that are paying it who are streaming with us though. So you can follow along once we do sign off there. But you know what, that is going to be something that where we get a chance there to kind of catch our thoughts a little bit.
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
there is that link for you there. If you're following along on YouTube, let me, I'll do it for all destinations actually there so people can check it. But I think I'm on the clock too. So I should probably focus on
you should
that.
probably pick someone.
P. Crow Armstrong. Darn it. Okay. Spore, you got me back there, brother.
Okay.
I like him a lot.
Well, yeah. While you're thinking, I can tell you that I have a list of like boring guys in my queue that will not knock your socks off. So I'll wait and see who Jeff picks, but I'll tell you this: the guy that I pick, no matter who it is going to be super boring. Accumulator type guy. I've got my eye on a couple of them.
This guy is so not my normal guy.
Okay.
But I needed to address batting average. Luis Arias is on my team. Now I feel like I can take some chances.
Yeah, I got no problem with Luis Arias. I think I know who I'm going to take, and it's going to be like a super boring pick that just kind of meets some needs for me. We'll just let this next. Mason Wynn just went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think you got to look a little bit at positions at this point. So I'll, I can say he's probably not listening to whoever's on the clock right now. I'm just kind of looking at my list. He's probably not on our podcast, but
Tim McLeod. He's not in the podcast. I can guarantee, but I have seen him kind of post a little bit in the draft room, and that's about it.
I see. So, yeah, I have no. Oh wait, Tim's got 10 seconds. There we go. So I'm going to take a super boring Alec Baum.
That was my either or. Good.
So, and the reason it's just it's to me, it's a boring pick, but it's another good batting average floor. I feel like I've overcompensated really for Schwarber, so I'm not worried at all. Like I have a catcher who hits for average. I've got Bichette, Turner, like Baum now. But the reason I picked him is I have no corner infielders. So it fills third, and then it just gets me one corner infielder. The other hitter I was looking at was an outfielder. I already have a couple outfielders. Like I do think I'm actually pretty good usually at just not looking, not prioritizing positions. Like I've always said someone on your team has to be crummy. So like I'm willing to wait, and just I'll find a third baseman if I have to late, and there's fab and there's trades and whatever. That being said, having no corner infielders, like going into round 12, I was like, when I had an outfielder ranked a little bit higher in my projections, but I was like, you know what, I think I should go down just a little bit and get a corner. Get a corner. So anyways, we're through 11 rounds. I only have 3 pitchers. You only have 4 pitchers. Is that right?
That is accurate.
So
3 early ones and then a second closer. So
yeah, as I said, like we only have a few pitchers, but we have put more draft capital in than you often would with 3, just by getting the 2 aces. And there are a lot of things you can do in a fab league with pitching. I'd be a little more worried about having like 3 pitchers in a draft Champions League. So, what do you think of your team so far?
It's okay. To be completed. I mean, we're still only 11 rounds in.
I know,
and that's
right.
The thing. Like
the heavy lifting is still to come.
Yeah. I mean, because I went with the early pitchers, I feel like I'm still light on hitting.
Yeah.
Although I looked at the draft software and maybe not. Foghorn Steinhorn is up again there, and he got Dansby Swanson. I think he's always underrated, but I have 3 middles already, plus Arias at first base, so I don't need Dansby, but
he was right like with Alec Baum and some other guys that had just gone that we had complained about, Castellanos, Gary Carpenter. I had Dansby Swanson with those guys too.
Yeah,
that was, like I said, that was my kind of regret with taking Bo Bichette. Now I haven't had a situation yet where like I really, really wanted a shortstop and I can't take him. Like I had times where shortstops were like right at the top of my list or around top of my list, but I didn't have a time where I was like, oh my gosh, this shortstop's way ahead of everyone else, and now I just can't take him. So, so I guess I'm still fine with my reach on
fair enough.
So, anyways, yeah. So it looks like we're almost there. Oh, there's an interesting pick, Sedan Rafaela.
So
around 11.
For the last 3 weeks, I've been downgrading him. However,
actually, that's pick's not as off ADP as I thought. Yeah.
The thing about Rafaela though is I just feel like there's some windows opening up for him, even though the Bregman signing closes him off in some ways. And the fact, we'll see if Story's healthy, but Devers isn't healthy yet. Abreu isn't playing yet. He's got. I mean, Abreu's it's an illness at least, but Devers has had all offseason to recover. But his shoulder injury is not letting him play games yet, and he's going to DH right away. There's that whole debate about where he belongs and all that. So we'll see what happens with that, but there still is an avenue there where he could get that playing time.
Yeah. If he gets that playing time hitting like ninth, like I don't know. I'm not super high on him.
So there's the debate here whether we're going to go one more round
whether we're going to go one
break.
more round or another break. We were going to have a break. Come on, Steve, make a decision.
Yeah,
I don't even care what it is.
I think we're going to go one more round. But while we're waiting for that decision, just a quick note: we're on the Blue Wire Network, and here are their ads. All right, thank you, everybody. That was a good way of kind of thanks for giving us that pause that made us do the right thing as far as doing the read go. So. We're about 125 into the draft here. We're about to start up the 12th round. I'm finding the closer prices were a little low, but yet now that I look, like that they're pretty well gone.
Yeah. I thought the closer prices were fine. Like I said, I did feel like a time. Did Alexis Diaz ever go?
No, he did not. He's still hovering like an angel for you.
Still hovering. So I'm not going to take him. I just don't know I just don't think I want to do that this year. Like I don't think so. Like if he sits around for 3 or 4 more rounds, which he won't, but then I would take him. But I just generally I don't think I want to do that this year.
Far the most valuable starter left on my board, Reynaldo Lopez just went. I thought there was almost like a 40 pick gap between him and the next starter.
Really? Okay. So you're a pretty big Reynaldo. There's a lot of people around. So I flirted with him in Tout Wars. Just ended up not taking him because I didn't take a pitcher. And then he made it 1 pick away from getting back to me in round 14. So you think he was a great deal here in round 12. In our Tout Wars League, he almost rated to round 14. I was going to take him, and then he didn't make it to me, and I took Robbie Ray instead. And I wasn't super excited to take Robbie Ray because I worried about him. But in round 14, I felt like he made sense.
There's a lot of pessimism on whether he can repeat it. I get that there.
Yeah.
But
he could regress. It's your old regress to what?
Yeah. 140. The only reason why he doesn't show up high on earned auction dollar values is he only had 8 wins. But 148 Ks, 199, 111 on those ratios. Good team. It should be better again this year. Should provide more support. Yeah, I think he's worth it there. If you give him 11 or 12, I think that's you give him 11 or 12 wins. I think he in ranking systems he should turn out okay. So
I have him ranked such where he's at this point in the draft a fine pick. So I didn't have him ranked as high as you, where you have him as by far the best pitcher left on the board when he went. I have him in a new glob of pitchers. So I had an old glob, and then I felt like there was a bit of a break in that glob. Kind of when Grayson Rodriguez and Zach Gallen went, there was a big glob through rounds 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I felt like that glob's now gone. And now they're into a new glob, and I had him in that glob. So, my just got sniped.
Oh no.
I was going to take Chris Sanchez. I thought I could easily get Chris Sanchez right now.
Womp 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 womp.
Am I gonna take someone that I don't really? I'm gonna take a pick that I feel like a lot of people won't like this pick, but I'm gonna take a chance on him.
If you like the pick, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So I took Nick Pivetta. I'll let you think about your pick while I explain. So Nick Pivetta has been rising up draft boards. I went a little aggressive here. I took him around 170. His ADP in the last week's around 200. So I thought about leaving him for one more round. I decided I'm not going to get cute because I just got cute on Chris Sanchez. And look what happened. I didn't get him by 1 pick. I think it was Ryan Bloomberg who stole him on me. Really frustrated. Nick Pivetta is super risky. He's pretty risky. He's actually not as risky maybe as some people make him out to be. It's kind of maybe a bit of a poor man's Freddie Peralta. The strikeouts are going to be there. I'm going to cross my fingers that a better home park for pitchers in San Diego helps him and that he gives up fewer home runs and is pretty good. But Nick Pivetta is usually a pretty decent whip guy and gets plenty of strikeouts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like all
my numbers
pitchers
had him as good as anyone left.
I like all 4 pitchers: Sanchez, Pivetta, Lugo, and Lodolo. All of those.
I had
think
Lugo
are
right
pretty.
there too. Yep.
Yeah.
Thought about Lugo for sure. Maybe Lugo would have been a lot safer to take than Pivetta. But Pivetta, I think, has more upside because he can get a Lugo-like strikeout total in like 145 innings.
Yep.
So if he could go through 160 innings, yeah, he could get a lot more. Anyways, I thought it was a pretty good pick. You took Colton Cowser. I like that pick. He was about, I'd say, like 5th or so on my remaining hitters. So like, and that's a clump. Like he's just in that clump of remaining hitters. So I think that's a solid pick. I just see him as like both decent floor and ceiling. Like he's young, right? He's got potential. Like he's young with upside, and then also just probably should be as good as he was last year. And he was better in the second half last year.
Yeah, he was.
So I like that about him as well. Just as far as like, just as a profile, like a rookie who improved in the second half.
The other thing I like about him too is that the Orioles have said they want to run more this year too. And he's one of the guys I think will run more, with a little bit more leash on his playing time.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. Erickson Profar was the next outfielder I had on my list, and Paul Sporer took him immediately after. So, great mind by Paul, mediocre mind by me, think alike a little bit there.
I did not have Profar quite as high. I haven't been able to, there goes Kodai Senga. There we go. We opened talking about Kodai Senga.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he still went in round 12, but we'll see how that all turns out. But I'm, like I say, a little surprised. Jumping back to Profar, I don't have Profar as high as some people do, but I totally get why people are taking him this high. Yeah, I think if he can repeat last year on the Braves now, he's really valuable. I'm really shocked by the way that Alexis Diaz is still there. And like, I don't think I'm biting on this.
But you were down on him though.
I know. I just thought someone would have taken him by now.
Yeah.
Like in the room.
Oh, and there he goes. Someone did
there
take him by now. So there you go. So all you had to do was speak him into existence. Well done.
I wanted him off the board, and right. I wanted him off the board.
You didn't want to take him. You just wanted him gone so he wouldn't tempt you.
Yes, that's it. Yes. I wanted someone else to take him so I didn't have to decide on him.
Yeah. So the next best closers out there, like Pete Fairbanks, maybe David Bednar, Jordan Romano, Arizona, Carlos Estevez, Boston closers. It's kind of tough out there. So it's kind of a tough spot. So I get it.
Pete Fairbanks has hung on. Yeah, I guess actually, no, we're right around his ADP. Yeah, I could maybe get on board with Pete Fairbanks at some point. Yep. I don't think he'll last long enough for me. I feel like I can just talk freely with closers with you now since
I have two. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I don't have Fairbanks ranked very high at all because I'm not really sure how many innings he'll throw, and I'm not really sure if he'll actually be a full-time closer.
Right. Yeah, the usage. Yeah. By the way, Luis Arias changed everything for me there.
Yeah.
I was so worried about batting average, and now I'm like top 5 in batting average. So it's kind of funny. I'll mess it up. I'll not mess it up, but I'll
sink it again.
Yeah, I'll sink it. I've got a couple of things towards the top of my queue.
Yeah, the freedom to sink it is good, right? Like you want to have the freedom to sink your batting average.
Yep.
Right, because if you're sinking your batting average, you're probably drafting someone who puts up a lot of counting stats.
Yeah. So we've done 12 rounds. They're going to break. So I think this is a good time for us to break it off. Sure. Get our cues a little bit more lined up better instead of having to do it on the fly while we're talking. But want to thank everybody for chiming in. I mean, I think we had at our peak like 1,900 people at one point in time there. So I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. I think we had a lot of fun here. Appreciate you guys chiming in. I love that Paul Sporer drafting in us right next to me is also involved in the chat as well. That's always fun. I always like that too. And thanks everybody for all the comments. We always love it. Even the critical ones, even the ones that told us that our team stink. We appreciate you guys too. Yeah, so thanks. If you like this, you can make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit subscribe or wherever you're listening on your podcast so you'll know whenever we're dropping another podcast, another video. And please check out RotoWire, rotowire.com/try. Take care, everybody. James Anderson will be back to you tomorrow with the Prospect Pod. Take care.